Dreams they fall like wishing wells, unannounced on your spell. I know things will be different soon, and I'll come running back to you. Okay. That's all y'all get. That's all y'all get. Y'all gotta wait. Y'all gotta wait for Dion to come out. Y'all gotta wait.
Yeah.
I love it. Holly Cotton here, and I am joined with artist Dion Elmore, and Dion is going to share all his story. And if you guys, we're so cool because we have on shades because that's kind of Dion's thing when it on his album and everything. So your girl supports the culture, so I had to put on my shades and my blazer so I could be part of Team Dion. So welcome, Dion.
Greetings.
Love it. Okay, so before we go, because it's hot, y'all, let me take this jacket off.
I'm gonna switch jackets. I'm gonna switch.
Yeah, we had to get some content for the promo for Dion's new song coming out
Correct. November 17th, to be exact.
November 17th. And is it a song or is it an album?
It's a single, actually.
Okay.
It's a
All
single.
right. Okay, we'll get into that. So, first of all, let's go into who is Dion Elmore. So, Dion, tell us your story of how you started your passion, how you found your passion, how you started in the music industry, all of that great stuff. Tell us your story. Who is Dion Elmore?
Dion Elmore is a very spiritually led artist, and I think with anything being rooted in anything, it should be rooted in the right thing. And so I grew up with music. Uh, it was a family thing, if that makes sense, as in I have a multitude of family members who indulge within the music industry and whatnot and work within that field. And so it just came natural. But of course, over time, you develop more skills and more achievements and whatnot within your career, and you get to a certain place to where it's almost as if it's now time to not necessarily cross over, but show more people than what you were usually accustomed to your work. So I think I'm there now, and I think that's because I'm spirit led. Uh, but yeah, that's who I am. Just a Christ loving kid who makes R&B music.
I love it. And so let me ask you this,
Mhm.
because as artists, and I'm an artist in my own way as well. I do my own thing, but I know that we kind of look at a reflection of the way that we were to the growth of where we are now. So whenever you, and my son's an artist as well, so like I love one of his first songs that he made, and he was young and he's like, "Mom, I was so I could hear all the mistakes. I could hear, like that's not even me anymore. I'm
Yeah.
so I've progressed to so when you look at Dion whenever you first started and finding that this was something that you wanted to do, to Dion now, what are some of the changes that you feel like you've noticed along the way in your craft?
Um, I say my approach to uh, ideas, I guess you could say, in the sense of not only my own, but even others. I was in a point where, at one point within my career, and it was at the beginning, which is kind of, uh, I know it's wrong, but I know I was at a point where I was almost taking every idea as this may be like a good idea, and that's it, and no questions about it. And that's not always good. And I know for others, some people may not have had that uh, in the beginning or whatnot. Like maybe let's say a Prince or whatever came out the bat swinging, you know. But I know for me personally, I thought most of my ideas were great, and then I wouldn't listen to others, and I think that's just where it's really at, and listening to others and listening to yourself as well, because sometimes you can get to a point to where you're like, hey, this isn't a good idea, or this may be a good idea, or whatnot, and that's just it happens. And then I got to a point to where I'm just like, okay, I understand I'm going to make terrible decisions right now, so I'm just gonna chill in that and actually dwell within the bad decisions, and I'm gonna let everyone know that, hey, this is gonna be bad for right now. There's gonna be a turning point within my career, and it's gonna make you look at it almost as if he might have something going on there. And I think that's this point within the release of my new single, "MERCI," November 17th.
And I think that that's also maybe a little bit of the confidence as well. I think whenever you're starting off, you don't know necessarily what's accepted, what will be accepted, and then along that path, you become so comfortable with being authentic, and you're like, "Hey, this is who I am. You're gonna take it or leave it." So
Yeah,
I think that that also helps too, because I say the same thing at first when I started a show. I said, "Oh man, everyone. I have a southern accent. I have a little twang, and
yeah,
does that, anyone with a New York accent, everyone immediately accepts them just because you could be talking about nothing, but if you got that New Yorker
right,
accent." So I said, you know what? I'm about to represent for the Southern people. We're out here, we're doing it too. And then look, and I just stayed authentic to who I was. So I love that about you. And let me also just tell you guys, because I want you to envision how I met Dion. Okay, so I'm just minding my business. We in a little VIP group, and I walk into this little hole in the wall. I think it's even called like the
the
joint or
joint,
something.
the joint,
You can't get any more hole in the wall than the joint. And Dion is on stage, and there's someone, and they're on the keyboard. They have a drummer. Somebody has a tambourine, and Dion is up here shaking, and I hear him hitting these notes, and he comes over and he talks to us, and I was like, okay, I want to hear your story because you have such a unique style, Dion. So whenever you're sitting down and you're making your tracks, and you're coming up with the stuff, and like you said, what you own now, are there ever any times where you feel that it's a struggle to get the idea that you're envisioning for a song and actually get that on a track?
yeah, of course, of course. But that's the beauty of it all. In all honesty, it's the journey. Everything is a process, and I love that. You have to be willing to sit down at a piano and think you're about to write the best song of all time or record the best song of all time and not come out with anything. Uh, Even if you just sit there and dabble on the keys or dabble within recording and delete everything later or whatnot. Don't delete your things, by the way, guys. If you make music, do not delete your stuff. Keep everything. But yeah, if you just do that, that was still work. That was still something, and it's gonna fuel something in the end. So it definitely is difficult at times to transfer what it is that I'm envisioning onto, I guess you could say, a computer or whatnot. Yeah.
So what about, do you have you always had, because I know you kind of have this group of other fellow artists. Did you always have friends that were into music, or is this like a new evolution of Dion where now you're having to align with people that have the same goals as you?
Well, I have been around a great deal of people with a great deal of talent musically all my life. Especially, I have my best friend Zion Campbell. You met him. He plays the guitar.
Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He
He
gave me goosebumps, you guys. Google him. Look him,
yeah.
stalk him on social media. He's great.
Yeah. So he's been my best friend since kindergarten, and he's introduced me into a lot of people, and I've introduced him into a lot of people. So we usually, excuse me, keep a great deal of talent around us. So yeah, and it evolves over time, of course. But yeah, it's definitely like I guess you could say, family type situation, if that makes sense. We call each other whenever we need each other or whatnot, even if we don't need each other in a sense, and we just want to hang out or whatnot. We'll call each other and be like, "Hey, let's go to the studio and just sit or whatever." But yeah, so it's definitely like a family type thing.
Right, and you have to be in that space. Now, let me ask you this on the other side of that. Do you feel that going through the evolution of Dion that you had people who didn't believe in you or who were like, "Oh my gosh, is that what you're trying to do, man? That's you ain't going to make it. You ain't that's stupid." Or whatever, I don't know, whatever young people say, bro, I don't know, whatever. But do you feel like you had some negativity from some people that were close to you?
Yes, actually, family members even. Uh, but at the end, all you can really do is pray for them because I know for me at least, I don't know about anyone else, but my God is real and He's gonna work everything out for my good if I just live according to His will, and that's all I'm really trying to do, in all honesty. And I know for others, sometimes they may not always like to see what it is that you're doing if you're the one who's doing it, and I guess that's the case in my some of my situations. Um, and some of these people, in all honesty, who either I guess you could say hated or doubted or whatnot, some of it was out of like random. Like I've received some messages. I've I've done some promo for the new single, and I received some messages like, "This is ass," or "This is trash," or "This is not good," or whatever. But that never, and it has never, in all honesty, it has never outweighed the good response and the good feedback. Family members have told me, "Nah, that's not it," or whatnot. Or even if it's one of those times where I'm like, "Hey, this might not be the best, but." Whatever, still support. Even then, they might be like, nah, this ain't good or whatnot. But I mean, it's okay because at the end of the day, supporters are supporters and doubters are doubters for a reason. So,
Yes. Well, I'm telling you, I hear and it's like the more that you get, the more successful that you get, the more I guess in the spotlight that you get more hate and people feel so comfortable coming on. I mean, I'll have someone on my show because I try to keep it really inspirational, be the change. I love to highlight people doing things, and I'll get people all the time. She needs to stick to nursing. No, or like the, and I'm like, you know what? You better be lucky I'm on my growth journey where I don't fight people anymore because you could get these hands. But then you just have to be like, you know what? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. So, all right. So let's talk about some of the projects that you've done before, and then we'll get into what you have coming out with the new single, all of that great stuff. So tell us about some of the other projects that you've had, some of the songs that really had good feedback, and which I guess what were you trying to exhibit in those songs?
okay, so I have had uh, a couple of projects come out within the past. I've had, I'd say, about 3 albums and one EP and like a single from like some years ago. Uh, but yeah, and from those projects, I'd say I've had a good handful of, I guess you could say, more successful songs. I've had this one song titled "Rolling Papers," and it's done, I think, about 17,000 streams on Spotify alone, and and a song titled "I Can't Help It." That's done about somewhere in the thousands. I don't know. That song, Prada Doesn't Love Me, and these are songs off of my most latest project, Honeé, which is out now on all platforms, um, and also most recent. I guess I just said that, but yeah. So yeah, so that came about. Basically, that project came about basically, well, over time, I guess you could say, and that was a process in its own right. All of this is a process, and like I said, so about 2 or 3 years ago, I started the process of creating the idea of this new world, and I called it Planet Ghetto, based upon these chords that I started playing on the piano, and that song in itself became pretty successful as well. But I wanted to figure out a way how I could take this song, Planet Ghetto, and make it into a project. And so I spent time creating the promo posters and the album cover and whatnot. Like all of that stuff was done maybe about a year or two or however long before the release, and I did everything. I did the design for the album cover. I shot the photos myself. I played every instrument on that album. I sung every vocal on that album. Everything down to handing out flyers, physically handing out flyers. Yeah, and I think that is where the success comes from, is actually putting in the work. I think your dream is your real work, down to what you said. Some people may be like, uh, you might need to stick to nursing or whatnot. The dream is the real work, man. This is in addition to what it is that I do. And the nursing is just another achievement and another skill set that you have obtained. And I think this process is something, being able to understand this process is something that is achieved as well. But yeah.
Hey, I love it. And I always say that you have to be obnoxious with your dreams. And I actually had a clip that went viral of a little snip on a podcast that I was on, and I was saying that, and I was explaining that, how do you want me to believe in you when you don't believe in you?
Right.
And that's the whole thing. A lot of times people will have an idea and then they're going with it and they're like, nobody supports me, no one supports me. But if you really want it and you can fall off that quick, you don't really want it. You got to prove to people that you want it. And then once you're so obnoxious, like for me, there's no goal but Holly Cotton. Like there's just nothing. So either you're on the train or you're not.
Right.
But.
And if you missed it, too bad.
Yeah, no, hey, too late. We don't make no, we do not circle back. But look, I was gonna play a little snip of Rolling Papers of Dion because I found it. Okay, so let's see. And these are all you doing all of the music.
Yeah, everything is done by me.
She anxious cause you rushing her patience. My mama making ignorant statements. She says she fighting with a 14-year-old. With a spell to make her demons unfold. Chia make the body unfold. In that 13 years she had bodies untold. Go, 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 remember this old song. Was in treatment 2 years, far too long. Shit was fold. When she came home, it sparked the G5, but she got a long. She blew,
That's a true story. That's a true story, by the way.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's so cool that you do all the instruments and everything in it. Okay, so tell us about Mercy. Tell us about the work, because this is a new baby, and it's almost like whenever someone's a parent and you have a baby shower and everyone's anticipating it. So I know, because like I said, my son is an artist as well. Shout out to Kai Cordier. And so it's always like he does so much preparation before the posting, and it's coming and it's coming and it's coming. So tell us about Mercy, tell us about the drop date, tell us about any funny stories that went into this, and what is the song about, all of that. Go
Cool.
ahead.
So, Mercy. Oh my. Alrighty. I wanted to bring a different feel to my music. Of course, this is the crossover, I guess you could say, or whatever. It's just the transitioning within the career of Dion Elmore, and it's going within its metamorphosis process, and I think it shows that within the song. Um, and it came about basically one day I was just sitting at the keyboard and I was playing and I was like, I want to write a song. And so I wrote this song. I wrote these lyrics. I didn't play anything to it then. I just came up with some random chords and just wrote the lyrics down. I had a rehearsal later on that day with Zion Campbell and a good friend of mine, Chris Casey, plays drums for my band. Dion Elmore and Love 43, by the way, come check us out. So he he started playing some chords, and I asked what chords were those, and he said the name, and I later forgot. But as he was playing it, I was singing the lyrics over him playing the chords on the keyboard because all of us play a multitude of different instruments. It's not just one. Um, and he said those lyrics are pretty cool, man. And Zion was like, "Yeah, man, you should keep that." I was like, "Okay." And some time later, I started recording it, and then I started traveling a bit more heavier because I do travel quite often. Um, and I was recording this song, recording, writing, mixing, and I was also promoting this song as well because although you're not really supposed to do this until like it's finished, I had so much faith within this song, and I still do, given that it's still unreleased. Um, I had so much faith within this song. I had already started promoting for it down to like flyers on, excuse me, not flyers, promo posters, like real promo posters. Um, and you can't really see it, but in that corner, like right there, it's like this big picture of like a multitude of my promo posters all in one. And they were real promo posters, and they were on the streets of different states prior to the single even being complete. And yeah, and I came back home, finished it up, and yeah, now we're here. And I think if you really listen to it, you'll hear the transitioning within my sound. And if you really listen to my music, you'll know, okay, he went from this to this, and that's real. And you can see that and hear that within the music. And not only just within MERCI, but within all of my music. Um, from you'll see the origins, and from this point on, I guess you'll see the outcome of what is and what will be.
I love that, Dion. I love that. I love that. Okay, so what I also like to do in addition to highlighting and having people tell their story is I feel that we have sort of a responsibility, I call it, to be the change. So what I like to do is give advice or education or information to people that are attempting to do certain things that whoever it is that we're having a conversation with is doing. So if you had to go back to Dion that was struggling to find his way, to figure out what he wanted, to say, hey, listen, don't do this or do this or put more energy in this, what advice would you have for Dion and anyone that's thinking about getting into sort of this artistry field?
Mm, be much more attentive. Be very aware of your surroundings, whether that be physically, spiritually, or mentally, financially as well. Because although money is not everything, but it is a necessity, and it is also necessary. So be very aware and be open-minded to what could be, not necessarily what you may think what is. Uh, be very open-minded to what could be. And be able to be teachable. Yeah, listen. That's a big thing. I know for me at least, if I had someone tell me this prior to, and it not be like, I guess you could say like maybe a family member or whatnot, and this just all goes down to what it is that they're telling us. Uh, I know I would have been in not necessarily a better place or further place or anything like that, but I just would have had a better mindset. Um, I guess when certain people tell you things, you just look at it different because it's who who's telling uh, you that, and they might not reflect what it is that they're telling you um, in the proper way. But that's all right, because at the end of the day, whenever someone tells you something about yourself, or they ask you to just pay attention to this, maybe we should, and maybe it's just something to think about, even if we don't agree with it, you know. And I think remaining open is a good thing, and being able to listen. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's a very key point because I think a lot of times with people that are sort of in this entrepreneurial world where you're working for yourself, and sometimes you take on that boss role and it's like you have an idea and you're saying this is going to work, or no, I love this. Like, what do you mean you don't love this? This is the way it's going to be. This is going to work. And then someone else is kind of like, yeah, well, let me tell you, and a lot of times people won't take that advice because they feel like it's criticism or they're not open to it. So I love that you said that about being teachable, because, key
Yeah.
point there.
Yeah. For sure.
Has anyone ever said something to you and you were kind of like, I'm
Of
not doing
course.
that?
Of course. My manager told me once before, because within my show we do cover songs as well. Um, they were like, you need to bring Motown back. You need to bring like the Temptations and all of that back. And I looked at it in a sense of I need to be singing ABCs, or I need to be singing I Want You Back by the Jacksons or whatever. When in reality, all he's saying is just bring back some a different kind of feeling. Excuse me. Like the old feeling is there. The old fashioned music is there, because music from back in the day is much better than what we got now. And I'm just trying to fuel what we got now with what was of the past, music wise, within the authentic feel. Um, I just think now, looking at it now, I guess I could have maybe, and this is just an example, by the way. This isn't anything that's like direct or pointed towards anyone or anything like that. But I guess now, looking at it now, I could do something like, let's say I do Just My Imagination by the Temptations, and it be in a different type feel. Let's say if I do it in like a jazz mood, or like I do Just My Imagination in like a rock feel, which is crazy, but who does things like as such? And it's always good to have an idea. I guess you could say, not necessarily implement the idea, but it's always good to have a solid idea, because that idea right there, within even just bringing Motown to the show, um, that can open you up to a variety of what it is that you are, instead of what it is that the idea is, I guess you could say, because then you can showcase yourself through whatever idea that it is that you're implementing. And yeah.
Well, and also it makes you more marketable, sellable because it shows you in different avenues. And hey, listen, I totally get it because sometimes, like my producer at first, he was like, "Hey, I need you to go out and talk to do some stuff with these election people and do this and do that." And I was like, "Okay, first of all, I hate politics." And he was like, "Yes, but we want to show that you're able to talk to anything, any environment, that you can be on the carpet, that you can do this." And I just followed what he said, and then like 3 or 4 or 5 months later, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I did that, So sometimes it's good to listen to other people. I love that. I love that. Okay, so promo. Go ahead, tell people how they can. I know we said November 17th, November 17th, November
That's
17th.
correct.
So tell them Tell them what to look for on November 17th, and then also how they can find you, like you, subscribe to your content, all of
Well,
that great stuff.
you can find me on Instagram at the Dion Elmore. That's TheDionElmore. No underscore, no space, no anything. Just the Dion Elmore or at the Dion Elmore. My website is www.thedionelmore.com. You can find me on Apple Music at Dion Elmore. And again, it's Dion space Elmore. And my new single, MERCI, and that's MERCI, will be out on all platforms and all music streaming services, and also available for purchase on iTunes November 17th. And you can find it anywhere, whether it be SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, wherever. Just go take a listen to that and listen to it fully at your leisure, of course, but listen to it in its entirety because I think you'll like it. And whether it be you like the beginning, the middle, or the end, I think you'll come out a bit more joyous at the end.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and I will also have all of Dion's information in the podcast notes and on a caption, whatever. I'll have everything there as well with clickable links. And so if you're driving or listening to this while you're doing your cardio or whatever, don't worry. Just scroll down on the notes and all the stuff will be written there as well. So thank you so much, Dion, for sharing your story. And I cannot wait for all the success of the new song or
Thank you very
new
much. You guys can
single.
find me on other social medias, by the way. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, all of that. Probably the Dion Elmore. Yeah, it's at the Dion Elmore. Just about everywhere. So just type in Dion Elmore and that should pop up. You can Google me as well and get everything from there.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I say the same thing. Everything is
Right.
Holly Cotton. Like, just type it in, it'll
Somewhere.
pop up somewhere.
Somewhere.
So I love that. I love that. All right, so that is Dion Elmore, you
Thank you
guys.
so
Thanks,
much. Stream
Dion.
Mercy, November 17th on all music streaming services and also available on iTunes for purchase. So, yeah, thank you so much, Holly. I'm a big fan.